شباب طبعا انا بشكر كل الناس اللي يعني ادوني انا بفتخر ان انا موجود هنا. مع الاسف الشديد ده اول مره اجي هنا. انا طبعا بقالي اكتر من 25 سنه في البحرين. انا طبيب متقاعد، بس ما تقاعدتش لسه في الحياه ونتكلم عربي وانجليزي. I'm not here يا جماعه to teach how to drive. I'm sure all of you are experienced drivers. But let me tell you, and the most problems which is created from driving, it comes basically from our attitude. حقيقي يا جماعه انت اتفرج كده واتفرج على الناس وانت بتسوق including myself. هتضحك، هتقدر تحكم على شخصيه الناس. And even you can, it's totally different when you drive in the midtown in Cairo rather than Manama. It's totally different when you drive in Florida than in New York City. It's totally different. I didn't have the privilege to drive in Florida that much because it's a huge country. Anyway, so defensive driving is about developing the right attitude while you're driving your car. This is a course which has been conducted in Al-Mashriq a long time ago, almost over 11 years. I had the privilege to be an instructor, even nominated several times to be one of the best around the world. But unfortunately enough, the population in Bahrain is so small and in Saudi compared to the United States. But I had the privilege to go to the National Safety Council in Chicago to have the development course. This was at 2012, after the Arab Spring. And when I went there, I noticed that all the instructors are police officers. So I kept looking at myself, I'm the only doctor among that, you know. And they were telling me, it is mandatory. If you do any sort of revoking while you're driving your car, you take a notice, and then they can revoke your license, and the next proposal action will be you go and attend this course. So defensive driving is basically about a choice. It's a choice. We are free beings. We are always free beings. Nobody can imply and impose anything on you unless you take the choice. But with freedom of choice comes responsibility. And human beings are intelligent. The divine cannot create something which is not intelligent. Even the small ant is intelligent. And with intelligence comes the freedom of choice. So it's a choice for you to go from point A to point B, your own destination, safely. So defensive driving is about driving safely to save lives. It's similar to why we practice good standards of health and safety. This is the classical question in all NIBOSH exams, starting from the simplified up to diploma. The first question, you will find it, what are the reasons to practice good standards of health and safety? You have moral reasons, you have financial reasons, you have legal reasons. Now is coming the corporate business responsibility. But driving defensively is to drive to save lives, to save time, and to save your pocket. We want to save money, right? I don't want to pay fine. So let me ask my dear audience, how many of us, while coming here, was wearing a seatbelt? And are we convinced with the seatbelt? Definitely. I will come to that in a minute. So, when I was practicing in Salmaniyah 9 years ago in emergency room, every shift starting from Wednesday till Saturday night, we see a lot of car accidents. We see people and families with broken hearts. And I couldn't ever erase the memory of a mother who came shouting and crying, and her heart was broken in front of my eyes because her only son brought in death. Why? Because he ignored to put a simple click. I call it a click. And but by that time I remember I had a statement And this statement, I had a lot of praise in the United States when I was there. The statement is the difference between someone is wearing a seatbelt and someone is not wearing a seatbelt is the guy who's wearing a seatbelt, he will come to you in the emergency room walking. And by the way, most of them, they can be discharged on the same day. But the guy who's not wearing a seatbelt is the one who is either going to be admitted to the morgue, or if he is lucky, لو أمه دعياله, he will be comatose for a month, 2, and we never know when he will wake up. So this is the difference, and I will tell you what is the scientific essence behind it. So, in order to drive defensively, you put the 3 letters RUA. To drive defensively, I have to recognize the hazard. This is like a risk assessment, by the way. All of you guys are safety, right? I'm not a safety professional. I'm a doctor and I'm a trainer. I like safety. And of course, the credit goes to Abu Ali. He's the one who pushed me in that. So I thank him very much. Also, most of you and all of you, you shared we shared good experience. And if I'm a bad trainer, you can let me know, please. So, thank you very much. So we recognize the hazard, number 1, and we understand the defense. The defense here is the control. And when we apply the control, we have to apply it right, and we correct at the same time. So time here is an essence. So this is the basic thing. We drive to save life, time, and money. This is defensive driving. It's about attitude. There's nothing to, I'm not going to show you techniques. This is something totally different. Our main problems, in Bahrain, 98 people died on 2017. The percentage, when you go to see the statistics, it should be always every 100,000. So 8.34 died per 100,000. It is not so much high statistics, by the way, because the population in Bahrain is a little bit small, but it's growing. And let me tell you, Sweden almost have 0%. Monaco have 0.01, but Monaco is so tiny. If you want to know the magnitude of car accidents and people who die from car accidents, half the population of Cetra, which is 40,000, they die every year in the United States. And the reason we teach the transport safety in NIVOSH and IOSH, and we keep saying to the students, it's speeding. Yes, speeding is number 1, but now it's getting down. Now what is preceding the speeding was driving under the influence of alcohol. But this is very common in the Western community and other community. But it's coming up. But what is now superseding driving under alcohol influence and driving under speeding is distraction, smartphones. And we have a false perception about smartphone. We keep saying that if I keep the smartphone on speaker mode and I keep talking and I'm not holding it, that will be okay. That's not okay. Because our brain, guys, by the way, the brain is a muscle. In order to keep on your brain growing and growing, you have to work. You have to use your mind. Otherwise, Alzheimer will hit, and I'm afraid of Alzheimer. I'm in the age of Alzheimer. So let me tell you, if you keep holding and putting it on your speaker mode, your eye is going to be on the road, but your brain is already focused on the dialogue. That is distraction. It's your choice. If you have a mobile call, you want to answer it, that's your choice. If you don't want to answer it, please park your car and just answer your phone call and then get back on your road. So our brain has never been a multitasking. We can do different tasks. We can connect with people in different ways. But still, we can't do our action perfectly. Because our brain, yes sir?
Distraction.
Yes.
calculated and find only by mobile. People are eating, people are smoking, people are talking to the neighbor, to the kids.
Yes, this is part, but the main thing in statistics is cell. And you know, by the way, they are calling it death by mobile, death by cell phone. And my close friend is David Cruz. David Cruz is an engineer. He teaches safety in the National Safety Council, and he lost his only child because of one lady crossed the traffic light, and so he started doing the campaign. And we started since 2014 calling it death with cell phone.
But what about death with eating?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, all of these are distraction, but it is not like the mobile phone, and especially texting, because it needs a lot of tasks, and it needs a lot of kinetic mechanisms. It needs some sort of adjustment. And by the way, the more we are aging, our mobility can be very difficult. So if just I want to get a box of Kleenex, I can be distracted because it will take more time. According to statistics, if you left your own focus 6 seconds away from the road, the chances of car accidents will increase by 50%. So I agree with you. All of these are distractions. Even if your child, daddy, get me shopping, I want to go to the movies. This is distraction. But mobile phones we're becoming slaves to the mobile phone. We are now in the era of, we started by what? We started by the holdables, and then the wearables, and the next era will come, sensors will be installed. And it's coming up. We are trying it. Elon Musk is trying it now, and it's working. So we need to respect our community. We call it road community. We need to be having the C. We need to be cooperative, communicative, coordinative, common sense. All these C's are very important in defensive driving. When I am turning to the right, I'm communicating with the back car that I'm going to. So there is a lot of communication, a lot of cooperation. If you have a road coming, and what is the right of way? Who has the right of way? When you go and be taught how to drive, always, this is my road. I'm on the highway, and there is another intersection coming. Who has the right of way? No one has the right of way. Courtesy, you have to reduce your speed and to let someone else. And the other guy who's coming from the other intersection should do that. Nobody has the right of way. It's a matter of cooperation. I will show you a very interesting slide. I debate always this. A preventable collision. I go and see most of the companies, not all the companies, everything is preventable. Come on, guys. If you are waiting in a traffic light, waiting to move your car, and somebody bumped you from the back, is this preventable? You didn't have any responsibility. Things can happen, but we are looking for perfection. And simplicity is perfection. So a preventable collision is the collision where the driver fails to do everything. Maybe, and I say maybe, not all the car accidents you are responsible for it. But we are aiming for perfection. And this is a bit difficult. We need to increase the public awareness. Accidents are coming and getting more and more and more. We don't have any room. People are getting so frustrated. People are getting depressed. Economy is getting down. But all of these are excuses. Why we should risk our life? Why we should break people's heart? You have a lot of people who love you. Don't tell me who cares about me. Ana rajul faqir. Nobody will care about me. No. Why? You have a lot of people surrounded with people who love you. Why you should break their heart? Why you should drive so fast? I will talk a little bit about the aggressive driving. Drugs. Of course, lots. It's a very good practice that you ask your doctor when you're taking, I'm so sorry, distraction.
I'm not driving.
Offensive driving. Sorry for that. You go, lots of drugs are available over the counter. And when you take it, it can cause drowsiness for you. Like Panadol Extra, like most of the antihistaminics, like the drugs, the cough syrups. And there is something amazing I want you to take care of it. If you take herbal medications are excellent, very useful, antioxidants, anti-cancerous. Green tea, but I don't suggest that you take green tea and go for drive. The real green tea. I'm talking about not talking about the commercial Lipton. I'm talking about the real green tea. It keeps you relaxed. And when you're relaxed, of course, your reflex will be slower and slower and slower. Again, of course, alcohol is well known. If you are depressed and you have a lot of stress in your work, or you have a stress from your wife, what happens is you start, the easiest escape route is go and drink, have a drink. And the mixture of someone who's depressed and under the influence of alcohol, he is turned into an ISIS, a suicide bomber. Alcohol plus stress and mixed with a little bit of drugs, because if you take drugs with alcohol, it causes something called synergism. Synergism means what? Means antagonism means 1 minus 1 is 0. But synergism, 1 plus 1 is equal 10. So if I take an antiemetic like Pimpan, and I go and drink alcohol, the effect of Pimpan probably will be 10 times. Even if you go and take a simple medication in emergency room, like Finnergan, and when you take it and you drive your car, you will feel so drowsy. So always, there are a lot of drugs over the counter that can cause sedation for you. Please don't take it. And please, when you go to the doctor, ask him, can I drive? Can I work? Especially if you're doing a sensitive job or a machinery job. What are the 3 stages of impact? This is very important. And this is the reason why we should wear seatbelts. I remember seatbelt increased the survival rate according to research by 50%. And the difference between someone who is wearing a seatbelt is he comes to the emergency room walking. And I've seen it a lot from my humble experience. But the one who is not wearing a seatbelt, he has the possibility to be ejected out of the car. Once he's ejected out of the car, he falls on his skull, and he has a fractured base of the skull, and later on he will die from cerebral hemorrhage. He died instantaneously. So the scientific essence of wearing a seatbelt is to keep the driver so safe in the most safest part of the car, which is the car cabinet. This is number 1. It is your responsibility to ask all your passengers to wear the seatbelt, because anyone can die. If I'm wearing the seatbelt and the other guy in the rear seat is not wearing the seatbelt, in any collision, the same speed, this man will fly like a bullet. We call it a bullet, a missile, and he can hit you in the neck and you can die. We have someone in Bahrain who came to us dead because he left his helmet free at the rear seat up. And when he just bumped the brake, the edge of the helmet hit him and he died instantaneously. I've seen it. So simple things. It is your responsibility to ask everyone with you in the car, please put on your seatbelt. Again, we don't want our kids, and I'm so happy now in Bahrain that there is a lot of accidents are mentioned in the newspaper that concerns kids. Please, we don't want our babies to be an airbag. So for the mothers, don't put your baby on your lap, because psychologically, the mother feels that this is the most comfortable, safe place is my lap as a mother. Put him in the car seat. My friend, the doctor, when I was practicing in Birmingham, I remember, man, a close friend of mine, a good surgeon. He came late and he didn't show up to my shift, and I was working for 48 hours. What happened is that he was caught with his girl without putting her in a car seat. And then the police officer stopped him. Are you a doctor? Come with me. And he put him in the slammer, number one. Number two, he was about to revoke his license. When I went and seen him, he was behind the bars. I started pleading the police officer. Then he told me, go and bring me the car seat, and I want him himself to install it. I want to see him. And I told him, the next time your license is going to be revoked, and we will take your kid, because you're not supposed to be responsible for your kid. Let us, the state, the UK government would be responsible for it. So this is very dangerous, and we see it all the time. Don't do that. You can control everything when you're driving, but you can't control the weather. You can't control the circumstances and the road conditions. The only thing that you are able to control it is your car and your attitude. I want to skip this a little bit. There is 3 impacts when any car accident happens. The easiest one is impact number 1, is the solid in the solid. The impact against the solid. The part of your car against a wall. The part of your car against the side of the road. But the second impact is what happens to you in the car cabinet. This is impact 2. But the worst impact is what happens in your body. Exactly. Our internal organs are between 2 fixed points, your ribs and your spine. So what happens in any car collision, your whole organs hit the fixed point, which is the ribs, can be the liver, can be the kidney, retroperitoneal, pancreas, and then it goes back to the spine. So hemorrhaging happens. And this is why you can see people die instantaneously from something called cardiac tamponade, which is the bleeding of the heart, which is very dangerous. We can't do anything about it. So distraction, we spoke about it. How many hours we need? We are in the era where nobody sleeps. How many hours do you sleep? Well, it is from 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours is very good. But if you sleep less than that, you are sleep deprived. It's a very good thing to take a siesta, especially in the hot weather. And this siesta can be just 15 minutes. I used to do it in my long shifts. I sit while, and then I sleep. Al-Qaylula. Siesta.
We did not hear the song.
So it's a good thing. It will reboost, it will regenerate your energy back.
Not more than 15 minutes.
Beautiful, it will be beautiful. Now, what do you see in this girl? She looks beautiful, of course, but what do you see in this girl? Very aggressive. The Americans call it road rage. We call it the aggressive driver. And how can you recognize an aggressive driver? From his style. Aggressive driver is a driver who wants to impose his will on the road. And everything around him, mistake. You're doing the mistake, but he never looked to himself. And by the way, he doesn't need to do this scissoring with Mu'assad like we say in Egypt, or he speeds. And this is not aggressive driver. This is a showy driver. But the aggressive driver can be someone on the high speed lane, but driving like a turtle. This is an aggressive driver. You know the real aggressive driver is the driver who's coming tailgating you behind. This is very common on the high speed, and he comes behind you and tailgates you. This is very dangerous. Don't you ever do that. Always there is a following distance, and the following distance is 3 seconds.
70 stars.
1, 1001, 1002. I am following Mr. Hassan Shaban in front of me, and he passed the petrol station. I have to say 1, 2, 3. I passed the petrol station, then I am on the safe following distance. So don't do the tailgating, please. tailgating is very dangerous. And one, this is daily, I can see it now, especially on the weekends. Okay, let me give you a scenario. What happens if you are in a car and you're sitting in the car and your wife or your girlfriend is beside you and someone kept staring at her and he started to flirt with her? What are we going to do?
Open the door.
هتعمل ايه يا باسم؟
ليش ما؟
باسم بحبك يا اخي. هتعمل ايه؟
ما بعطي الصراحة.
What would you do, sir? If I'm coming beside you and you are, this is just a scenario, please no offense. And then I started flirting with your girlfriend or your wife. What you will do really? What you will do?
I know my numbers.
لا بتكلم بجد.
It happens to me once, in fact.
Okay.
So the girl was flittering on me. I was alone.
Okay.
So what's happened? I opened the door. I said, "Come."
Do you know, guys, the common thing when I was in my shabab, I used to put the spanner just in Egypt.
It's a must.
And every time my father goes and check my car, he tell me, please don't do that. But I was so aggressive. Anger can eat you. And who is going to pay from you being angry? Is yourself. Later on. So the best thing is to reflect, reframe, and refocus. My wife was going to be shot by bullets in the United States. She was driving with my sister. My sister is a little bit aggressive. So a guy started to follow her, and then by the grace of God, she found a police officer. You know what the police officer told her? He told her, don't you ever do that. You never know this guy. He can shoot you. He might be drunk. He might be psychologically disturbed. And you might die. Your life you can pay your life for that. For a simple thing. Let him flirt, let him do whatever. And the peer pressure is very dangerous in this situation. Imagine this scenario happened to you, and then the guy started to show in front of your friends, and one of your friends is telling you, are you a girl? Are you a man to leave someone like that play with you? You know when you get angry, what happens to you? You turn into a remote control in the hand of the other guy. It's not worth it. Come back to your home safe. You are surrounded with a lot of people who will love you. So reflect, reframe, refocus. Let me say, if we go from here to Seta, and we are driving by 80 kilometers, we have an X hazard, and we will arrive. But if I'm driving 136 kilometers, I will have 12 times the hazard, but I will arrive late for 4 minutes. So the difference is 4 minutes. Is 4 minutes earlier worth your life? So if I'm driving by 80, I will arrive by 12 minutes. And the hazard, there will be hazards, but the chances and probabilities of hazards are minimal compared when you are driving 136 kilos. It will take only the difference less than 4 minutes. Is it worth it, guys?
Do we have 5 minutes?
5 minutes, I want to finish by what happens, guys, if you are faced with someone coming in front of you. Are you going to the left or to the right?
Of course, to the right.
Excellent, excellent. What else? Read the road. You have to read the road. You have to drive to the right, and then reduce your speed. And if he's coming and you are bound to collide, please go laterally. Don't go with the front part to minimize your damage to the car. So ride off the road. I want to get you the nicest habits. The 10 habits. Wear your safety belt, please. Number 2, evaluate your driving conditions. We wake up early in the morning, we have a meeting, and suddenly we find mist. And we couldn't see, and still we insist. It's easy. You call your boss, I'm going to be late. Because you are risking your life. People understand. Avoid being impaired, whether drugs, alcohol, whatever. Use the what if. Always be in doubt. What if I see a car next? What if this intersection, somebody comes up? What if someone is backing his car? Avoid distracted driver, we spoke about that. Emotional control. Control your emotions. Don't let your emotions control you. Avoid driving while you are fatigued. Maintain proper following distance, which is the rule of 3 seconds. This is very important. I always have a plan and consider other drivers. We are driving with other drivers. We call it road community. So common sense, courtesy. I like very much when I see a driver, it's a habit. When he gives me the right of way, I tell him thank you. It becomes a habit. If you want to develop something, you do it by subconscious mind, practice it and practice it and practice it, it will become part of your subconscious. So this is a very important thing, courtesy. And I thank you all very much for your kind patience.
Hassan Ali, and I would like to call Mr. Ahmed Khalil. Hassan Shaban. Muhammad. I would like to thank all the team. Okay, I would like to thank all of the team for really you have delivered very informative sessions. It is unique. We didn't have this before, like push updates. So whenever you are welcome again. And defensive driving, as you say, it's a habit. So people will teach themselves and then they can develop it. If they say why you do that and you are doing same practice, it is meaningless. So really I would like to thank you. So Mr. Ahmed Khalil, his attendance and Hassan is valuable for Bahrain Safe Society and really we are proud. So we would like to introduce Mr. Ahmed. الدكتور
شكرا لك يا ياسر. By the way, I'm not happy with my photo because in this photo it looks that I have some hair, you know. So.
And one more thing.
Oh.
A good surprise for I'm still.
Oh, you stay.